Welcome along to the weekend warm-up. Looking forward to a tremendous weekend of racing action, a very busy one at that. We've got the really good card down at Newbury with the valuable Weatherby Super Sprint taking centre stage, massive cavalry charge, big prize money on offer, and a good quality renewal of that particular race in store as well. We're at Newmarket where there's some listed action. It's a classic weekend in Ireland with the Juddmonte Irish Oaks taking centre stage on their card at the Curragh, alongside plenty of other group racing action. There's something for the Summer Jumps fans as well with Cartmel, and then a good card at Market Raisin. Elsewhere, we've got Ripon and Doncaster. I think that pretty much covers everything. Haydock as well. Shouldn't forget that. I'll be there on Saturday evening. So lots to go at. We're going to look ahead to 9 races, I think, 8 or 9 races over the course of the weekend, myself and Martin Dixon. Mark, it is a busy weekend. It's just these summer Saturdays. Blink and you miss it kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Every weekend's the same. It's not quite got the overall quality, certainly in the UK, that we had last weekend on July Cup Day, but it's still good. It's a super sprint day at Newbury is always a really good day's racing. You know, you get plenty of competitive stuff there. It's the same on Saturday. Obviously, the highlight of the whole weekend is going to be seeing snowfall again in the Irish Oaks on at the Curragh on Saturday as well. That's the big race really over in Ireland and through the UK and Ireland over the course of the weekend, seeing the Rampant Oaks winner again. So we'll look forward to that. But yeah, some good stuff to get stuck into. I think there's probably some better betting races than the Irish Oaks for all that. That's the highlight on quality.
And one of them could well be that listed Stevenson Stakes, I suppose. Second race on the card at Newbury on Saturday afternoon. At the time of recording on Thursday, good to soft, good in places. I suspect that might dry up prior to racing. So it's going to be a little bit of a tricky one. I think you'd probably base it about on good ground. And that won't be a problem for Real World, who represents Side Vinceroy, who's also going pretty well at the minute. And this horse absolutely bolted up, back from a break, back from Dubai Mart in the Royal Hunt Cup at Royal Ascot last time out. Won by a wide margin, clocked a good time, a big figure, and one that suggests that he's up to at least this level of competition.
Exactly that. Yeah, I mean, he won a Hunt Cup off a mark of 94 with a £3 claim on board. So you look at it and think, well, this is a huge step up in class. But the way that he won that Hunt Cup justifies his position at this sort of level, more than justifies his position at this sort of level. And as you say, the time, fast time, very fast time, really backs up what he did that day at Royal Ascot. As well as that, you look where he was drawn. He was in stall 4. The second, third and fourth came out of 27, 30, 33. Then we had Beat Le Bon in stall 2. Beyond them, we had 22, 25, 26, 23. So high draws on balance did much better than lower draws in the Hunt Cup. And yet Real World was still able to win it in such authoritative fashion from stall 4. It was a really impressive performance. The clock backs it up. It was his first start on the grass as well. And I think therein lies the reason for the improvement. He's a horse that looked really promising when he made a winning debut at Chelmsford last October. They sent him out to Dubai and he ran 4 times on the dirt at Meydan. Well, the dirt isn't for every horse, is it? And that gives you some reason for him finding that improvement, apparently out of the blue. So I like the way that he did that. I think he's up to this level of competition. I think that he's taking on some good, proven horses that are hard-knocking listed standard horses, but he has more potential over and above them, I think, Real World. And I would argue that the dominance that he produced in the Hunt Cup would give him every chance of being maybe even better than these as it stands anyway, for all that he was winning off a mid-90s handicap mark. So I like him, Real World, the selection in the Stevenson.
Yeah, I'd be with him as well. I think the other horse that has got plenty of potential, I suppose, is Moving Time, who's only had the 4 starts so far. He's got better, really, by the run, for all that he met defeat up in grade last time out at Ascot. It was still a very good run. He's back down in class a little bit. You could maybe mark him up a little bit from last time out, but he's going to have to improve again to get to where Real World is at. And as you say, Real World completely unexposed on the grass. So I'm with you on that one. I'm going to go with Real World. I think going back up in trip could well help him as well. So we're both with Side Vinceroy and Marco Ghiani in that race. We'll move on to the 225. Stayers in action here. It's a race that Ian Williams won with Rashun last year. He's doubly represented with the first time blinkered Mancini. He's also got Indianapolis in the field. Withhold won the race 2 years ago. That was off a mark of 107. He's down to 105. So he's a horse that, if he bounced back, would have a chance. But he comes here with a little bit to prove, I suppose. So they're all horses to consider. I had Rodrigo Diaz at the top of the list, Mark. I thought he might improve up in trip.
Yeah, he's a horse with an excellent chance, I'd say, Rodrigo Diaz. He won his only start over 1 3/4 miles at Wolverhampton last year. He's kept on his improvement through the course of this season already. 1.5 miles at Kempton on his most recent start in a competitive race. I think over 1.5 miles now that he's up the weights, probably just on the short side for him, for all that he's got a lot of winning form over that sort of trip. And it just all happened a bit quick for him, but he still ran very well, Rodrigo Diaz at Kempton last time out. He's got a strong each way chance, I would say. But this Z-band of Roger Varian's could be a big improver still, I think, Chris. They didn't go that quick in the Northumberland Vars at Newcastle at the end of June, and he still managed to pick up really strongly in the last 3 furlongs and win going away by 2.5 lengths from a competitive field. I thought that the visor went on for the first time. That really helped focus him, brought out a lot of improvement, and I think as a stayer there's an awful lot more to come from Z-band. He's only gone up £8, which surprised me actually, given the quality of that race last time out. So I'll leave Rodrigo Diaz to you. I think Z-band a strong and worthy favourite at the top of the market. I think he'll shorten up and he could take quite a lot of beating.
Another horse that might just be of interest in there is Just Hubert. He's got the cheek pieces on for the first time. He's a strong stayer for an informed yard. Tom Marquand is taking over in the saddle. I'm kind of hoping that this horse runs well, but that they aim him towards that 2.5 mile race at Glorious Goodwood. He showed good form at Goodwood last year, and I think he's an out-and-out stayer. So I reckon that might be interesting for him further down the line. One to keep an eye on. It might be that he's good enough to go and win this at the weekend as well. So Z-band for Mark, Rodrigo Diaz for me. We'll move on to 3 o'clock. This is the third of 4 races we're going to look at Newbury. And we've got the Group 3 Hackwood Stakes here over 6 furlongs. Tabdeed won it last year. He's looking to win it once again. And Owen Burrows' team in decent good form. Hookham was a winner for them, of course, at York last week. And just generally, Owen's horses are in good nick. So do you think Tabdeed can go in again?
He could do. Look, he's got a fair bit in his favour, hasn't he, with the conditions of the race. They're pretty much the same as when he won it 12 months ago. The difference this year, though, could be that last year he came from off the speed in a well-run 12-runner race. And I think the key to this year's Hackwood could be a potential lack of pace, and that will play into the hands of Diligent Harry, in my opinion, for Clive Cox and Adam Kirby. I think this is a good bet on Saturday. He's a horse that's created a big impression in a light career so far. He's won 3 of his 5 career starts, even in defeat at Newcastle last time out in the Chip Chase. It was a step up in class for him, taking on older horses. I thought he ran a career best last time out, and the sectional times tell you that he went a little bit too quick out in front at Newcastle. It's not easy there in competitive races where you go hard too soon, stiff finish to the line at Newcastle, and he just used up a little bit too much gas too soon in that race at Newcastle, but he still managed to hang in there for 3rd place. It was a big effort that gives him a good form chance anyway. But with the forecast on that he could get an easier time of things out in front, Diligent Harry, I'd say that there's a chance that he improves again. Now, he is tackling turf for the first time, but it shouldn't be a problem for him. I'm sure he's got experience of galloping on the grass at home at Clive Cox's as well. And yeah, I think Diligent Harry to make a winning turf debut in the Hackwood and continue what has been a really progressive season for him so far. But the key there is that he might just be able to get out in front on his own in a pretty small field.
Could well be that he dictates, couldn't it? And he did finish in front of Tabdeed in the Chip Chase last time out. The pair of them were 3rd and 4th. My worry is that lack of form on the grass is by due diligence as well. So that just puts me off a little bit. Can certainly see the positives for him. But I wonder whether Tabdeed, who was going into that race cold at Newcastle, whereas Diligent Harry was up to speed, having been on the go over the course of the winter on the all-weather. I wonder if he might just be able to reverse that form and on the grass. Take on board those comments about the way that the race might be run. The other improver in the race, I suppose, is King's Lynn for Andrew Balding. He's getting better, 3rd in the Wokingham off a mark of 100 last time out behind Rohan, and not disgraced at the Royal Meeting the time before that either. But he's another one that maybe is at his best coming from a little bit further back. I'm hoping that Tabdeed breaks well enough, doesn't get caught too far back, and can land the spoil. So I'm going to go Tabdeed. You've gone for the horse that was in front of him last time out. That is Diligent Harry. We'll move on to the Weatherby Super Sprint. This is the 340 on the card at Newbury. Massive field. I always think that you want to be drawn away from the high numbers as a rule, Mark, at Newbury on the straight track in big fields, but you actually look through the record of this particular race in recent times, and quite a few times it's been high numbers that have dominated.
Well, it wouldn't be a surprise if high numbers dominated again, because you've got the two form horses, Chipotle and Vintage Clarets, who both bring to the table Royal Ascot form into a big sales race. They're drawn in stalls 20 and 22. Chipotle won the Windsor Castle. Vintage Clarets was third in the Coventry. And they're both drawn high, and they both, at the weights have an excellent chance. But typically they are 2-1, 5-2, right up at the top of the market. Some bookmakers will be offering extra places, 4, 5 places, I would imagine, by the time that we get to Saturday on the Super Sprint. So I'd prefer to just take a pop at something at a big price. It is the sort of race that's thrown up a few surprises over the years. And there's a filly in here that's just got a lot of boots. Richard Hughes' filly Income, who nearly made a winning start at Nottingham at the start of June. She nearly made all of the running. She looked really sharp on that occasion, and she just got collared late on, but it was a big debut effort from her. And then she went to Goodwood, and she was running over 6 furlongs. It was quite a quick turnaround from her debut. She was messed around at the start, and I just think the race didn't get to the bottom of her at all. She was just, as I say, she was hampered early on. She ended up probably a little bit in the position that she didn't want to be in through that race, and in the end she didn't end up being given a hard time by Jamie Spencer. But I think she's quick, coming back to 5 furlongs, returning to maybe more positive tactics than Goodwood last time out, and just getting a more of an even shot at things. I think she's better than she has shown so far. She's only got 8-7 on her back in a sales race. It could be that she improves again. She'll need to improve, of course she will, to hit the frame. But judging by the debut speed that she showed, I think she still has more to offer. So Income for me at a big price each way in the Super Sprint.
Okay, Income in the Super Sprint, as you say, the two form setters, Chipotle and Vintage Clarets. I thought that Gubbus was of some interest for Richard Hannon, an early season winner at Leicester. Had a horse of Rafe Beckett's back in third that day, who has progressed and won a couple of starts since in Angel Blur. To the Nines, who finished in second, was well regarded, but a little bit off-putting really that Gubbus hasn't been seen since that run in early April. The Hannon team obviously got a good record in this race. So does Richard Fahey, though, and I'm going to go with Vintage Clarets. I know he's second favourite, but I think that sets a good standard, that bit of form at Royal Ascot last time out. And he's a horse that was behind Chipotle when the pair of them met right at the start of the season. So they are horses that have been on the go since the beginning. They ran the pair of them in the Brocklesby. I thought that Vintage Claret shaped very, very well amidst greenness on that particular occasion. So I think Vintage Clarets for me for Richard Fahey and Paul Hannigan in that particular race. We'll move on to Newmarket. One race to look at there, 3:30, the Aphrodite Stakes over 12 furlongs. This is a listed race for the fillies, Mart. I think we've just got 7 runners in it.
We have, which kind of takes out the each way interest to some extent, doesn't it, with the 7 runners. It's a pretty competitive race, this. Not one that I've got a really strong opinion on. But Talbeya, you've mentioned already that Owen Burrows' horses are in good form, and Talbeya is a filly that's improving. She's won 2 of her last 3 starts, and when she won the handicap at Salisbury on her most recent outing, she had a subsequent winner in Angham in behind her. Angham has gone on, she was giving Angham, I think, £12 that day. Angham has gone out to win another handicap subsequently. And the pace was quite steady. She raced handy, she relaxed. And with the pace forecast, again, to be pretty steady, it might just be that similar tactics suit Talbeya. She's likely to not be too far away from the pace. And she's improving all of the time. Quite like the fact that she's had 7 weeks since her win at Salisbury as well, because she should be improving all of the time. She's a big, good-looking filly with plenty about her. So Talbea, the likeliest winner for me of the Aphrodite.
Okay, I'm going to go with Golden Pass, who was just collared, obviously, at Pontefract last time out in listed company, and I thought had a fair enough chance, Golden Pass, of popping her head in front and going one better. I think she could be well positioned, and a relative test of stamina likely to suit if she can just start to wind things up from the front. Have a quick look at the Curragh. As I said already, classic action there. The 220, the first race we're going to look at, 2-year-old Group 3 over 6 furlongs, the Anglesey Stakes. What was your view on this?
Yeah, there's a horse that I really like in this. I think Beauty Inspire will take a lot of beating. Very, very impressive on the clock at the Curragh first time up. Well backed beforehand. The pace wasn't that strong, but Beauty Inspire still managed to come from the back of the field, tanking through rivals, quickening up really smartly to go away and win by nearly 4 lengths. Got a big upgrade through his closing sectional time on that occasion, Beauty Inspire. It was just a really sparkling debut from him at the end of June. There was obviously quite a lot of confidence in what he was going to do beforehand. He's got a lot of speed, like the fact that he's done it over the course and distance already. The pace should be set up nicely for him with Celtic Times and Hadman, who look quick horses that will get on with things early. And I think Beauty Inspire will just be able to tank and quicken and pick them off pretty comfortably late on. So I do think that he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I'm with him as well. Was really, really impressed with that victory last time out on his debut. He just looked a really smart prospect, didn't he? And I think he can take the step up in class to Group 3 company and probably go on and be something a little bit above this level, potentially, based on that debut effort. We'll move on to the 250. That is the Sapphire Stakes. Again, we're in group company here. Group 3. Again, we're sprinting. We're over 5 furlongs this time. I thought this was a trappy enough contest, Mark. I was taking the view, without it being a strong one, that Munista, under Colin Keane, who's got the ride obviously on Beauty Inspire as well, might just be suited by going back down to the minimum trip, given the way that she travelled at Royal Ascot last time out, and that also less demanding ground might suit her a little bit better, for all that she's won on his easy surfaces in the fast. She basically looks very quick, and I wonder whether this might be something that suits her.
Yeah, and she'll be an each-way price, won't she? I wouldn't put you off her. I think late odds as of early afternoon Thursday suggest she's going to be about a 10 or 11 to 1 shot. She might be chopped in a little bit from that Muniesta, but she's certainly going to have an each-way chance. She's having a good season. She went through the Commonwealth Cup like a filly in good form, but I do like another in this. There's a mare that's really thriving this year called Romantic Proposal for Edward Lynham, and she just seems to have come to herself. She's always promised plenty with how she's gone through races, going back to even last autumn. She absolutely powered her way through a race in September of last year in the Renaissance Stakes over 6 furlongs at the Curragh. And she just didn't quite see things out, but it was on soft ground. She's a year older now, a year stronger, and I think she's improving. She needed her comeback run, but it was promising in third. Then she built on that with a good second here at the Curragh over 6 furlongs again in the Ballyogan Stakes. She finished second, beaten half a length that day, and then she built on that again and put up a career best effort over the 6 furlongs at the Curragh on her most recent start to win a listed race. She travelled very strongly. She got to the front quite readily inside the final furlong when Chris Hayes produced her on her most recent start. The way that Romantic Proposal travels, I've got no issue at all with her dropping back to 5 furlongs. She ran really well at Naas on her comeback run over 5. I thought that was enough in itself to tell us that she's effective at the trip. She just needed the run on her comeback on that occasion, and I think she's still got untapped potential over the minimum distance. So Romantic Proposal, a thriving filly who seems to be better than ever at the age of 5 for me in the Sapphire Stakes.
Okay, and I'm with, as I say, Munista in that 250. Then we move on to the Juddmonte Irish Oaks, Group 1 action over 1.5 miles. Probably the horse that I'm looking forward to seeing most, and that is Snowfall, but not going to make much betting appeal. Haven't checked what the prices are, but she's going to be long odds on. It's rarely this straightforward and a case of how far, but all being well, it will be a case of how far, really, Matt.
Should be, shouldn't it? Yeah. You know, she should win. There's no doubt about it. She's obviously miles clear. It'll be interesting to see her again because obviously, even though she won the Musadora, winning the Oaks by 16 lengths still was a huge amount of improvement from her previous efforts to win in that manner. And I guess we've got some queries. When a horse wins by that far on ground that had softened up, it was a pretty murky, nasty day with lots of rain about on Oaks Day at Epsom. You still just have that little hanging doubt as to whether it was quite as good as it seemed to be, and whether under more conventional conditions, I suppose, she will be able to absolutely back up that performance. Now, obviously, to win the Irish Oaks, she isn't going to have to back up that performance. She could be 10 lengths worse and still win comfortably on Saturday. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see her again. I think from a betting point of view, look, you've got a dead 8 runners. Let's try and find one at a big price that can hit the frame, and you just never know. Any horse, any day can underperform, and if Snowfall, if she doesn't produce the goods, you might end up landing on a nice priced winner. And I was looking at Mary-esque of Joseph O'Brien's, just thinking, look, she's a filly that's going to be up in distance on Saturday, up to 1.5 miles for the first time. But she just kept on in the manner of a filly that might just be suited by that last time out at Naas. She's still very inexperienced. She's only had the 3 starts. She needs to improve a whole load more, and she was behind Willow in that listed contest at Naas on her most recent start. But I would suggest that, given that we've only seen her 3 times, she's still open to much more improvement. And like I say, I got the impression, at least, that for all her pedigree doesn't necessarily back it up, that she was ready to tackle 1.5 miles. So she's going to be about a 33 to 1 shot. And I thought Mary-esque, just have a pop at her each way. If she hits the frame, you'll get nicely rewarded.
Yeah, I've got the prices ahead of me now, and as short as 4's on for Snowfall, so I've got absolutely zero interest in tipping a horse at 4's on. I'm going to put one up in each way as well, and that is Willow for Aidan O'Brien, Shamie Heffernan taking the ride. Daughter of American Pharaoh, tremendous racehorse he was, and out of Peeping Fawn. Now, Peeping Fawn was one who just got better with racing. If you go back to Peeping Fawn's career, she won 1 of her first 6 starts. That was just a maiden. She then racked up 4 Group 1s on the bounce, including in this race, and she just got better with racing, really. Willow looks like she's getting better with racing after that win at Naas last time out. She's back up in trip. I suspect that the ground wasn't much use to her, really, at Epsom in the Oaks, behind Snowfall, obviously. The pair of them were going into that race with some improvement to find to go on and win an Oaks. Snowfall obviously found it. She had got a fairly easy time of things out in front in the Musadora the time before. Look, I think she'll probably win, but I'd rather back Willow each way, I think, at a big price, getting away from soft ground for one of the first times in her career, really. And I wonder whether it might just suit her. She seemed to improve on a sounder surface last time out. So I'd go Willow each way in that one. Now, we've also been asked to put up an each way Lucky 15 to finish things off. Have you looked at anything yet? I haven't looked at the other meetings yet to see what else is going on, so I'm going to have to stick to what we've discussed.
Yeah, well, Willow should probably go in there. I know I said Mary-esque, but that's a pretty solid case, I'd say, for Willow. If Snowfall wins, fair enough, but each way wise, you're getting 3 places, 8 runners in a fairly uncompetitive race beyond Snowfall, you know. So I'd suggest that Willow goes in. I like Diligent Harry in the Hackwood. I know there's only going to be 2 places on offer there, but he'd be my nap of Saturday afternoon in the Hackwood. So I think we should include him.
Real World. We both went for Real World.
We both went for Real World. We did. And we both went for the horse in the 220 at the Curragh as well, which is Beauty and Spire. So I would suggest those 4. Willow from an each way perspective to boost the coffers a little bit if the rest of at least hit the frame. Beauty and Spire, Real World, and Diligent Harry as my nap of the action on Saturday.
There you go. That's a look ahead to the weekend action then. Mark's recapped that each way Lucky 15 for you. We've looked at a number of the quality races this weekend. Good luck, whatever you're backing. Enjoy the racing. Remember to gamble responsibly, and we'll be back again soon to have a look ahead to some more quality racing action here on the Winners' Enclosure.